welcome to our first Quick Vine webinar, streamlining our powered lists, streamlining data inputs across teams. So we're super excited to kick off this brand new customer program, which will be a series of short educational webinars, all 20 minutes or less, and exclusively for Clairvine customers. And we do plan to host one of these every other month, so be on the lookout for more to come. And moving on to our presenter today, we have with us Rebecca Garner, Customer Success Lead. And to go over our agenda for the day, first, we'll look at the global campaign identifier. Then we'll go more in depth about audience name and using it consistently across channels. Next, we'll share some real examples of how to take action and implement this all into your workflow. And then finally, we have time for a Q&A and we'll share out some resources. And with all that said, I will pass it over to Rebecca.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey. This is a topic that's come up quite a lot recently as we've been talking with our customers, and a concept that could be used in a lot of different ways and many different use cases. Within your marketing strategy team, there are teams that have specific knowledge about a creative asset or a targeted audience. And the teams that are actually launching the ads, your agencies and ad op teams, just don't know that information. So just think back, have you ever looked at your reporting in Adobe Analytics or your BI tools and wished you had more granular information about a specific creative asset or an audience that was being targeted? How do we share the granular information that one team has with the teams that don't know that? Imagine you have a template for each of these teams, a media planning team template, a creative team template, an audience team template, and they are filling in all of the nitty-gritty details that you want in your analytics and reporting areas. By implementing a powered list, the submissions from those creative, audience name, and media planning templates can be tagged along and shared with the teams that are actually launching those ads. This will save time and will also get all of that granular detail that you're looking for shared from the teams that know with the teams that may not know. The first example that we'll talk through is the one we've heard of most frequently lately, and it's the idea of a global campaign identifier. There's a key or an ID that acts as a parent campaign, and all of the other channel campaigns ladder up to it. This ID or key could be a string of values, abbreviations, or even really cool idea is add an auto sequential number so that you have guaranteed uniqueness across them. So imagine now I'm a marketing planning lead. I have a template that's specific to creating a global campaign identifier. I have a template that is lists and field specific that I need to fill in. And as I'm creating these, this will be shared out to all of the channel teams. You could have any information in here that you'd like. We have information like the planning lead, the date it was created, who the advertiser is. As I click submit, Clairvine saves and stores the submission data on this template as a powered list. Here's my global campaign identifier. You can see I added 4 digits to the end to keep it totally unique. Now, as each of the channel teams are creating their specific campaigns, they would choose the global campaign ID, and the template populates all of the values that I entered at the global campaign ID level. I would then continue to fill in all of the fields for my specific social campaign, and I would fill that in, and the fields from the global campaign ID along with the actual ID are part of my platform campaign name. So it makes it easy for people who are doing analytics can easily see which parent global campaign this ladders up to. So imagine you have your social campaign, search campaign, display. Everybody is choosing from the same list, and we can now easily see what the global campaign is that it ties up to. Seeing this in a side-by-side view, template 1, of course, is the media planning team template where they are filling in their fields that are required to create the global campaign and add any extra metadata. Like I said, when they click submit, Clairvine automatically saves that data to a powered list. And if you're not familiar with a powered list, think of it as a collection or a library of all the submission data created on this template. So now it's easily referenced in other templates as a list. Then in step 2, the second template is where each of the individual channel teams have their naming convention template. Here, our example is the social campaign name. They pick from the list and they can easily fill in the rest of their fields, and you get all of that extra important information tagged along. And of course, we're saving the user time and effort and extra clicks. We're removing any possible errors, and even worse, we are filling in all the blanks. You no longer have unspecified or unknown values as you're reporting this. And of course, this template can be sent, the template data can be sent downstream to Adobe Analytics, Google Cloud Storage, AWS S3 for BigQuery, wherever you have designated that information. So you have the more enriched reporting and analytics. So that's the first example, a global campaign ID. And if you have any questions, or if you are thinking of this of like, I could use it in my organization in this way, pop that in the QA section and we'll cover that in a little bit. I want to hear from you what your ideas are, if this sparks any ideas. The second example that we have heard, again, really frequently recently is an audience name. The ad ops teams and the agencies don't know all of the information that you want to know about a specific targeted audience. What if we have a template that is specific to that team? So again, now I'm a user and I am going to my audience name template. I'm the person that knows for this particular placement, we are going to focus in on this demographic, this region, this area, these categories, all of this information I know, but the agency doesn't. How do we share that? And again, the idea is powered lists. You can see my audience name is a combination of full name values, abbreviations, text fields. You design what that needs to look like, and we'll save it to Claravine as a powered list, that collection of all the submission data. In the next step, I'll be an agency user that's going to create a placement name. So I open the placement name taxonomy, copy in my audience name, and here's all my data. Again, the idea is we could use the full audience name as part of the placement name taxonomy structure, or bits and pieces from where the name was created, all of those extra fields that came along, making it very easy to, again, save clicks, fill in blanks, and have that full name ready to go. And then seeing this side by side again, template 1, audience name template. They have to fill in what the specific targeted audience details are that they know. Clicking submit saves to a powered list that is then referenced and looked at by all of the other teams. In this example, a placement name creation. Pick that powered list value, fill in the other fields to make a correct and fully baked out placement name. We're saving clicks, saving errors, and saving blanks. And again, all of that data can be sent downstream wherever it needs to go, Adobe Analytics, Google Cloud Storage, etc., so that you have the more robust analytics that you're looking for. So those two are the most common that we've seen just recently. But like I said earlier, the uses are limitless. The concept of creating one template with an ID or some sort of key that is used in other templates, either a one-to-one or one-to-many relationship, unlimited. And you can have this apply to any of the workflows that you might have in your environment. So again, as I go through the next section with some quick and easy ideas, pop it in the QA section if there's something that speaks to you, or give a brainstorm idea of how you might use this. The first example, similar to the first, but a kind of a twist on it, is a global campaigning for publications. So template 1 is the global campaign name, where we're choosing the agency that's launching this, a brand or a product, and perhaps a launch date. An example would be just a general health information. In template 2, I'm a regional office, And I need to create a publication detail that ladders up to the global campaign of health information. So the publication might be about vitamin D, or know your LDL or HDL levels and what's a normal heart rate range. So again, the idea is we have child publications that are individually tagged with specific information, but they are all under the parent campaign of health information. Another idea is offer codes. We have a team that is specifically generating offer codes depending on the sales event, the quarter, the holiday, etc. And it has information about what year and what was the start and end date and all of that good information. Template 2 are the actual display and social teams, where they're making a creative name using a taxonomy template, and they choose from that dropdown of the appropriate offer codes. Pretty simple and easy, but we have the two separate teams that know bits of information about one, and the other team that doesn't know all that information but needs it to tag along. A third idea is creative content. Most of our customers use a third-party creative agency, and let's be honest, creative names for assets that you're getting don't always match the taxonomy structure that you're looking for. I have seen some very unhelpful creative names like coupon. Coupon for what? Who knows? Wouldn't it be so nice if you had your creative agency log into Claravine, they have their template where they're filling out the creative information. They have their structure of certain fields, list values, text requirements, the final creative name structure that you require, and we're not held hostage by whatever they feel like doing that day. Now your ad agencies and your marketing teams will use the drop down to find that creative that has the right information. And now you have all of the format type, the size, the background details, the product, the color, the asset file name. All of that information is now findable, and you can pass that to reporting and analytics for even more granular details. I'm going to go one step even further. Think of your digital warehouse or your data warehouse where all your assets live. I bet you have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of assets. Could you find a particular asset if you were looking for it? Are all the names the same? Can you easily identify what the creative size was? Or do they all have titles? Do they all have background information details? Claravine has an integration with Adobe Experience Manager where we can bring data in and set up a template. That template would match up to the fields in Adobe Experience Manager, and it would validate if things are set up correctly. This one is missing an asset title. That seems kind of important. How could we miss that? Would anyone even know if we hadn't checked it in Claravine? We can set up text fields, lists to make sure that everything is correct in Adobe Experience Manager. We can use concatenation fields. Perhaps the asset title name should be a creative file underscore the creative size underscore the format type. We can configure all that information and then send it back to Adobe Experience Manager after it's been validated and corrected in Claravine. Send it back so we get a clean environment. At the same time, it's all saved in Claravine as a powered list. And then the teams, as they're making their creative names, could use the powered asset title field, for example, and create the creative name. And along with that, it's tagging information like the creative asset description, the asset type, the file format, the tag ID, all of that other information that we pulled in from Adobe Experience Manager, corrected and saved and sent back. Mind-blowing, right? The amount of nitty-gritty details, all of those granular bits of information that you want about each creative ad that was launched can now be yours. Crazy. So we've talked a lot about powered lists, but how do we actually do this? I want to just remind you that powered lists, think of it as a collection, a library, a lookup of all the submissions that are created on the list powering template, template 1. This is a high-level overview. And I've called out kind of the main things here, but we do have a support article that'll be in the resource section. It has a video, step-by-step instructions, all of the details, some ideas of how you might use this. And of course, by all means, please reach out to your Claravine customer success manager. They'd be happy to help you with this. One important thing I want to call out, you can use an existing template and field set for your beginning step, that template 1. It doesn't have to be a brand new template. I've written out the steps as if it was a brand new template, but again, it could be something that already exists. So thinking about template 1, do you need to create a new pick list? Do you need to create a new field set? Do you need to create a new template? So if it already exists, you're already on step 4. Great job. Do all of those steps to create template 1, that list powering template. One of the most important things to know is you must create at least one row of submission data to power a list. So template 1, if it's already in existence, it probably has data, but if it's brand new, you have to create at least one row of data. Then you'll navigate to the pick list menu in the settings. You'll create a brand new list, choose which template to power it from. And I highly recommend calling the list something like collection or powered, something that rings true to you of like, this is coming from a submission collection of data, whatever feels best to you. And then the other most important thing is to make sure that the first column is your key or your ID, your lookup value. If column 1 is your launch date, that is not terribly helpful. We want to have our lookup value as column 1. There's a button that you could right click in the list to say, move this column to the start. Then once you've saved your powered list, where do we want to use it? Do you have a field set for each of your media channels or the specific naming taxonomy that you want to use this in? Fantastic. You don't have to create something new, but you do have to map the appropriate fields to this new powered list. You can create new field set. This is for template 2, or use existing and just update those. And then of course, finally, update any templates where you've added new lists or create that new template. And if this was confusing or overwhelming, again, we have that knowledge base article and your customer success manager would be happy to help you with this.